So we have some really exciting, and you can even say relatively breaking news to share in today's update. But hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update. So the big update is really that today's video is really going to apply to pretty much almost every single person watching this all around 50 states. And the big idea is that President Joe Biden has officially now made a brand new announcement, and there is a video in an article that we're going to be sharing in a little bit if you need proof. But the big idea is that he's officially now just announced a new program related to everything about the gas program. So essentially gas taxes, gas prices, and everything like that. And you may have already seen another video about it, but I will put a little bit of a personal insight and some other new information that he shared, so hopefully there's still something unique about it. The big idea about why you should care and maybe why this is relevant is that essentially if you are someone that happens to be a driver, this is going to potentially be money inside of your pocket. So if you're a driver, it is definitely absolutely important. But even if, say for example, you are not a driver, and I totally feel it there for me, I'm also not a driver, I'm in New York, I'm a biker and a walker, and I take subway, so that's just what we do here. But the big idea is that even if you are not a driver, it is still actually relatively important, because as we have kind of mentioned in past videos is that the price of gas is one of the most important things in our entire country. And why this is related is that because if you go out there and you maybe have gone shopping, I know I was recently just shopping at different grocery stores, you might have noticed one of the big things is how expensive everything has gotten. And feel free to share any particular stories about how expensive things have started to risen for in your particular place for the things that you have paid for. But why this is related is that one of the reasons why prices are skyrocketing so much right now is actually very much because of the gas prices, because all of the goods that we see in stores have to be moved around from place to place. In other words, they have to be shipped. And for anyone that's a business owner, and I feel it right there because I'm also a business owner, this is very important, because the higher the cost of gas also means the higher the cost of shipping, which also means the higher our expenses, or certainly the expenses of the business owners or businesses that we shop at, which means higher prices. And I think at the end of the day, it is still just very important and insightful to just know. Of course, all of this stuff and its details we are going to talk about in today's update, so definitely stay tuned. But as always, real fast, before we begin, remember to smash the like button if you guys hopefully enjoy videos like this. And I mean, we are talking about something positive, at least there's that. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell if you guys enjoy videos like this. Of course, you guys can always decide, or maybe watch to the end and then decide. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts, or stories about, honestly, just really anything. It is really always great to hear from everyone here. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So maybe to start is that I think it's maybe important to really just understand what's going on in our country and a little bit about the background story to how we got there. The big idea is that in the most recent report that officially came out, if you're watching this on release date, they found and reported that essentially right now, the average cost of gas is around $4.97. So essentially almost $5. And actually in reality, in the report before that, it actually was a little bit over $5. So the big idea and the biggest fear that a lot of people have right now is for the gas to essentially now stabilize over $5. It's a little bit of an improvement, but of course is that it's obviously going to swing, as we move through time. The big idea is that they're trying to control it down, but at this current time, it is definitely very expensive. And I think it's even important to notice is that this almost $5 is that we're talking about something that's across the entire country, all 50 states. So you can only imagine that if you are someone that lives in a location that is a relatively high cost of living, and I feel it because I'm in New York City, I have many people that I know from all around the country because I used to do service work, which is something just, a little bit about me that, involved traveling around the country to do different things. And but I do know, for example, is that there's many people I know, even in real life, for example, that live in California, where gas has essentially now risen to average right around a little bit over $6, I believe. So that is a lot of money. And it's believed that even more particularly is that if you are closer to the cities in those areas, it is probably even more expensive. And we are talking around seven something, maybe around $7. So this is really talking about the average price. Now, the good news is that because of all of this stuff that's happening, obviously it starts with a little bit of a problem and thing that's going on, and definitely something that is really important. Actually, not necessarily good right now. But the brighter news is that President Joe Biden did officially recently announce, and it's inside an article that we are going to share. So within this article, there is a video. You can definitely watch it on your own. Maybe we'll have a watch party. We haven't really done a lot of we've shared video clips, but we haven't really watched it together. Maybe that'll be something we have to arrange. But the big idea is that he's officially announced that he wants to create a new plan in order to try to suspend the gas tax, essentially creating something called a gas tax holiday for the next 90 days throughout the summer. And why this is even particularly impactful is that because the summertime also happens to be the time when many people are traveling. When many people are taking road trips, they're going to Six Flags, they're going to all over the place. Even if it's something, and I know because a lot of times, there's many people here that we really do have to save money. There's a video that I made, just a quick plug. I'll put it at the end screen that really just talks about tips and tricks to save money. So definitely just check that out if you guys are interested. But the real big idea is that, especially because this happens to be a time when many people are moving, whether this is for fun, whether this is for travel, or whether even this is for necessity. You might have to, depending on where you live, you might have to very much be forced to drive in order to get groceries, to buy necessities, for work, to go to work, to get jobs, all sorts of different things, even if it's the job interviews itself, because again, I know many people are unemployed. The big idea is that this is a very huge part of our lifestyle. So what this really essentially means for us is that essentially right now, the average or the cost of the gas tax is right around 18 cents for regular fuel and around 24 cents for diesel fuel. So by creating this program, what this is going to do is that it's going to eliminate the gas tax. So essentially now, everyone that happens to drive, the biggest benefit that they get is they get to save money on taxes. And I think that's, or specifically on gases, but gas taxes. So I think that is the really great news. Now, if you are someone that, for example, does not happen to be a driver like me, and I totally feel it there, why this can still be very important and very impactful, and maybe even better in a way, is that it also means that it's going to help to control the prices of the actual goods that we buy. Whether, again, this is something that we buy for fun, for example, like toys and games, to even things that we buy that are actually very much needed, such as like food, the cost of groceries, the cost of food, the cost of transportation, the cost of Uber, Lyft, everything around there. I do always tell people is that Uber and Lyft is one of those areas I, don't always, it's very rare that I take an Uber and Lyft unless absolutely necessary. But nonetheless, for anyone that just buys things in general, especially necessities, it means that they're able to save money, or at the very least, limit the increased amount of money that they might have to pay. Essentially what this means is that it will stabilize their money so that now they can try to at least attempt to keep costs under control. Now, what does this exactly mean for fourth stimulus checks and how this is related is that because later inside of President Biden's speech, he also talked about that because technically this is still a plan and a proposal, but it's not actually official yet. One of the things that he did actually very much preach inside of his speech is that if, let's say for example, this struggles to go through, one of the things that he really wants to preach is to try to now really get states to create their own programs and take that initiative. And there are a lot of states that have already started to come out with stimulus programs. Maybe we'll talk about it in future videos. We kind of have already in a few past, but I mean even more programs. But why this is very related is that because he really wants to make it a priority right now to control these prices, because as we mentioned is that everything is so connected and very related. But even more so is that if something pops up, he wants to try to encourage a lot of states to come out with their own gas programs. So whether this means a gas tax, which means that we can keep money, so in other words, put more inside of our pockets in that sense, or through actual gas or just general stimulus checks, so they can help a lot of people in need and try to combat these high prices. Essentially just understanding that everything is getting more expensive and maybe there could be some incentive or need to send out money to help people so that they can at least deal with how expensive everything has really gotten. So that's really the biggest goal, and how this is supposed to impact everything, whether this is about gas checks or general stimulus checks on both the state, the local state, and the federal level, all across every single state around the country. But really, of course, beyond this is, now that he's officially announced this, we have to just see what the rest of Congress actually says. So this is maybe something to definitely stay tuned in the next episode of this channel, or Kevin's show or something. But the big idea is that that's really what I wanted to share in today's update. So if you guys found that relatively insightful, as always, remember to smash the like button. If you guys haven't, consider subscribing, hitting the bell. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, personal thoughts, or stories about anything. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, maybe leave a comment if you watched to the end, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.